Hello and welcome to Neil's Spanish Flybox. I hope you're all well. Here we are at the beginning of May and anglers are starting to think about the hatches of Mayfly, the Ephemera danica. Now, the Ephemera danica is, strangely enough, available throughout the year in a lot of locations, but it's particularly well known for hatching during the month of May, and depending upon where and how the weather conditions are, into June. But today we're going to tie the merger version of the danica, and hopefully this will be very useful to you during the hatches. So I'll give you the materials as we go along. And to start with, I have a size 12 round bend hook in the vise. Don't forget, this is one of the largest ephemeras, so we don't need it to be too small. And I'll just mount this brown thread just behind the eye, wind it down about 1/3 of the way and wind it back halfway. Trim off. Right, now we're going to use natural deer hair for the wing, and we're going to put this in the stacker. As I said, it's quite a hefty fly, so we'll need quite a bit of wing as such. So I'm just going to trim off some of the hair. Now be sure to take out some of these loose fibres and this fluff that always is at the base of the hair, and put it in the stacker. And just give it a tap on your desk, work surface, whatever you're using, bench, and make sure you take this out round the right way, depending upon whether you're left-handed or right-handed, so that you can tie it in facing the front of the hook. So I'm going to take it out with my left hand because I'm right-handed, and take out the fibres with my right. And we're going to tie these in facing forward. A couple of loose turns, and then tighten it up. And this tying will naturally create a little bit of hairdressing closer to the end. I'll take some of it off now. And wind that down just a little. And trim off the excess. Some of it will pull off, but you can trim it off as well. Right, and I'm going to take a tie around the front as well, and go back behind and wind down this deer hair at the back. Right, we'll try and get rid of some of this other excess. Right, I'm going to just pull this forward a little to work on the other end of the fly. And wind that down. Now, from the very early stages, even at the nymph stage, the 3-pronged towel is fairly obvious. So we're going to put in the beginnings of the tail, and we're going to use natural pheasant tail for that. So I'm going to take out 3 fibres. 1, 2, 3, and take them off. and we're going to tie those in. Now the length of the fibre or of the tail is entirely up to you. As I said, it's already quite prominent at this stage, so the length of it is entirely up to you, but that's probably about 1 centimetre. And now for the rib, I'm going to use some whipping thread from the days when I used to make rods, and it is quite thick. Now it's unlikely you'll have any whipping thread, so I suggest you just take some ordinary brown thread and double it over 3 or 4 times and use that as a rib, because you need quite a heavy rib. Right, I'm going to tie this in. And wind up. And trim off the pheasant tail and the rib material. And wind back down. Right, now for the body, I'm going to use a creamy brown fibre dubbing, which emulates the colour of the fly. At the back, obviously, you don't need so much. It's the thin end of the wedge, as they say, and you have it a little bit thicker as you go up towards the thorax. The other thing that is noticeable as well at the back end of the fly is that it is a little bit darker, so we will encourage that darkness by making the rib just a little bit closer together. So let's see how we get on with this. Wind that up to the thorax area. It gets just a little bit thicker. I'm going to put a little bit more on there. Wind that on. There. Right, now the rib, as I said, I'm going to do a couple of close turns at the back. And open up the turns as we come up the body. That errant hair is getting in the way, but we'll sort that out in a moment. And tie that off. Trim up. Right, I'm now going to pull some of this hair up, move to the front and just build up a small dam. I will enhance that dam in due course. Right, now behind the wing I'm going to put in the thorax of mixed hare. This is hare's ear, rabbit, squirrel, etc. To give it a darker coloured thorax, and also the thorax is, or the front of the fly anyway, is quite large. Just tie that in. Right, also behind the wing, I'm going to put in a little bit of movement. I'm going to put in a turn of CDC, and this, as I said, is purely to create movement. It's nothing to do with flotation. So here's the CDC feather. I'm going to pull back with fibres and tie it in at the tip. I'll just trim that off. There. And put in the one turn, which should be enough. Trim it off. A little bit more hairs here at the back to cover up that bit of thread. Right, now we're going to move to the front of the fly. Build up a bit of a dam there. Move the fly back down the vise and build up a thorax at the front, which will also help support the deer hair in an upright position. Although of course when it's sitting in the water, its uprightness will be flat. Pull that back and build up a nice head. I'm going to put a little bit of glue onto the thread to tie off. As I said at the beginning, there's going to be some trimming to be done, some hairdressing. So now's the time to look at that. Obviously that one has to go. And these that are pointing backwards, you could really do without. And if we could just fan out the deer hair a little. Let's see, another errant fibre there. And there you have the completed fly. As I said, certainly the extra movement from the CDC will attract, along with the shape of the fly. There's a 14 and some olives tied in a similar fashion in a 16 and a 14. I will take that out of the vise so you can see the finished item. There's the 3 prongs. There, as I said earlier on, this is for water that is not flat. It's not for the flats. This is for the slightly turbulent water that is maybe at the end of a riffle where the food comes down and they start picking it off. Now the other advantage of this style of fly, especially with this style of wing too, it is easily visible in the slightly unsettled water. So there you go. As I say, it's the finished fly, and I hope you enjoyed that. Do give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already a subscriber, hit the bell and subscribe. Pass a comment if you so wish, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.